By the way, President Barack Obama, for whom I have great admiration, and you know that also.
Yes, yes. You also have a book about her.
Yeah,
his usage of proverbs.
Yeah, you know, he has that. Before he became president, he wrote a book called Audacity of Hope, and there he says that the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, that is his. And I was so pleased. No wonder I like him, because I had already reached that conclusion. But anyhow, the title, Audacity of Hope, of that book is just wonderful. You know, we have to be hopeful, Anna. Even during COVID-19, we got to hope that we can get a, what's the word I'm looking for? Getting something that we can have a medicine against it. You know? So, yeah, audacity of hope. That's what young people need, of course, and old people too. Old people too. You know, we can't just say we have racism. We have to say we can make a way out of no way. We can. It's very upsetting in America right now, Anna. You know, I was already in America when Martin Luther King was famous in the 60s. You know, and to basically see this wonderful country returning to such ills, or even to say that it is still so very much present, it can be very discouraging.
Yes, yes, yes.
But you have to try to make things better, you know. And so sometimes proverbs can help us a little bit.
Absolutely. Wolfgang, you have just mentioned this pandemic. So how do you feel these days? Because what I have sensed from your letters, that you are a kind of negative friend nowadays. So because how to say it? Not negative, but you have been a little bit depressed. So this is what.
Yeah, depression.
Or sad, or maybe sad, because
sad. Yeah, depression isn't really part of my psychological makeup, but sadness, I think.
Sadness. Okay.
And sadness, Anna, basically sadness because I cannot see my friends. I cannot go to the International Folk Narrative Research Congress where I might have met you, or I cannot go to the American Folklore Society annual meeting. So it's more like a sadness. I have enough, you know, being in contact with you, being in contact with Histralina and all my other good friends, Melita and so on, Peter. I have enough through the internet and email and our publications and so on, things to cheer me up. So depression wouldn't be the right word. It's more like, and Barbara, my wife, says that too. We're basically happy types, but the isolation and the not even being able to go to a restaurant.
Oh, okay, I see.
It's a little bit not frustrating, but disappointing. Yeah, sad is I think maybe a good word, but depressed, no. I've always been a very positive thinker, but I know if I recall my little short messages, Anna, I think I was just trying to be honest and saying, look, things are not exactly perfect.
Yes. And I got used to, or to very different way you're used to write your messages.
Yeah. What makes me really sad, Anna, is I hadn't decided that I would retire once I finish my 50th year, but having to spend my 50th year not even seeing my students, that does make me sad.
Yes.
You know, and it makes me sad also because I know no matter how hard I try to teach online, it will not be the same. You know, but we'll deal with it. We'll
Yes,
deal with
yes,
it.
yes. I also, you know, this term I also from the middle of March until May, I had classes just online.
And you know, there's no reason to complain. I mean, like, I'm just one of thousands of teachers. Think of the teachers, Anna. I mean, we professors, you know, we at least don't have as many classes as teachers have.
Yes.
The entire teaching profession, just to pick on one part of our society, is dealing with this. So there's no reason to feel that we are, you know, are special. But and somehow we'll deal with it. And if we get a vaccine, I finally remember the name. If we get a vaccine, maybe by spring, what do you think? Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't watch any news, to tell you the truth. So that in order to stay positive and optimistic, I try not to.
Well, you are right, Anna. You are right. I mean, the media is almost perhaps overkilling.
Yes.
I mean, we
Yes.
need to be informed, Anna. We need to be informed. But to get on the television and to say once again the state X or the country X has the highest corona new cases, it's almost like a competition.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
I mean that is a little bit absurd. So and I think you're right. We need to be careful that societies are not going to say, the hell with it, we can't do anything about it anyhow, so why should I care? People
Okay, so it's not what I'm doing.
Oh no, I'm not talking. No, I'm not saying. No, I mean people in general.
Yes, yes.
And I mean more the people who, especially in the United States, have no concern about the people around them.
Mm-hmm.
That, I think, is a real issue in our country, and maybe worse than anywhere else in the world.
Yes,
it is a little bit, you know, America is a federation, so every state has its own rights. So it is very difficult for the central government, but to tell people what to do, Anna. That goes from, you know, even schools. Every school district can decide what they want to do. So there's no uniform approach to this in America. That's part of the problem. A little bit easier in a smaller country.
Yes, yes, I agree. And I think right now Hungary is much luckier than America is, or in Hungary the situation so far is much better than in Russia. Has this pandemic brought out the good or the bad in people surrounding you?
Oh, surrounding me. I would say surrounding me, absolutely the good. He is doing the social distancing, and I couldn't report one bad experience I have had since March, really. But we're lucky, Anna. I don't think Vermont is normal.
Yes, okay. And
you know, but anyhow, I think, you know, people really are taking it seriously, but in general, Anna, I would say when you look at the medical profession, the nurses, the teachers, the bus drivers, the subway drivers, the pilots, all people who are in a service profession, I think have been absolutely amazing and very, very positive. But there are some bad people, of course. You know, and I would say it is the people who think they are invincible. Unfortunately, also many young people. But you know, you and I were young ones too.
Yes.
And it is part of being young to be a little bit flippant or maybe not quite as concerned. But when you see certain scenes, let's say at the beaches in California or the beaches in Florida, or mass rallies, and people don't even try to wear masks, I think that's irresponsible. But in general, I think today, this morning, I heard on the news that the King of Spain talked at a memorial for the almost 29,000 Spanish people who have died of corona. And he was giving much praise to all those groups of people that I've just mentioned. Really made a difference, especially the medical profession, Anna.
Yes.
Anyhow, I would say in general, I think people, when there's a crisis of any type, people usually pull together. So I would say I would go more good than bad, no doubt in my mind. This is not a good time for America, Anna. And it's all right for us citizens to express a viewpoint that, when I came to America, Anna, I of course was a child, 16.
Yes.
Impressionable. But I just thought, I'll use a proverbial expression. I thought America was the cat's meow. It was just, streets were paved with gold in California. But to have experienced as an immigrant, even, a nationalized citizen, from 1960 to 2020, that's 60 years, to see the image of America. And again, I want to stress, for heaven's sake, America was never perfect. No intelligent thinking person would claim that. But the image of America, the loss of its stature, it is hard to believe, Anna. It is hard to believe. And you start to understand how Greece, ancient Greece, or ancient Rome, how eventually civilizations, America might well have reached its pinnacle. But that is, of course, life too, Anna. It will be very difficult for America to regain, nationally and internationally, at least the image that we had of being a pretty damn good democracy. See, now I use the word again. It's sad.
Yes.
Not depressing necessarily,
Okay,
because remember, making a way out of no way.
Yes. And
but anyhow, no, it is. We'll have a hard time spinning out of this, and of course, COVID-19 is partially to blame for all of it, Anna. But not all of it.
Not all of it, yes. And
there are many documents in America. President Lincoln once, kind of referring to the beginning of the Constitution, basically to make this a more perfect union. Nobody ever said it was perfect, but to make it better. What proverb are you thinking of? Hope springs eternal.
I like this proverb.
I do too.
Yes. Wolfgang, and what do you think, what will the world be like, and what will America be like after this coronavirus pandemic? Hopefully one day it will be over. Yeah,
hopefully it will be over. I hope that America as a nation, or as a country, or as a, if you want to use the word, as a world power, will learn that it cannot always be on top. It cannot always feel like everybody has to dance after our tune. In other words, I'd like us to get back to what President Obama and others before him have tried to be, and that is to be a fair player, but without always having to be first. In other words, sharing a little bit more, not throwing our weight around. And I think, Anna, we will have to learn that. We're learning it now. China is a very, very strong country. Russia is. Other countries have great ideas. And if we talk about globalization, it's 12 o'clock.
Oh, yes. Oh, 12 o'clock. Oh.
That makes me think of a wonderful German proverbial expression. It is 5 minutes to 12. Do you know that? That means
no.
Well, in German, it is 5 vor 12. It is 5 minutes before 12, meaning you are reaching a stage of true crisis, like a nuclear war or something. Anyhow, so I think if we talk about globalization, then I think the so-called superpowers have to be a little bit more willing to share in all of it, rather than thinking, I'm going to control the economy and I'm going to do this and so on. So the crisis that, let's just say that the crisis that America is going through right now can, if you want to look at it positively, and I do, can look at it somewhat as a wake-up call for America. A wake-up call to be a little bit less imposing. So that could be maybe a good outcome of all of this. We cannot be the main player in everything, Anna, nor should we be. This goes for Europe, of course, too, Anna.
Yeah.
Germany doesn't have to play the first fiddle all the time. And I think Europe is doing, or has been doing, a good job. Here's something I think I can say nicely about Europe. Since we're talking about COVID, I think COVID-19 has shown that Europe, even in a crisis, can hold on to its idea of a united Europe. You might have thought that nationalism and protectionism would take over, but it hasn't really, has it? People are still, you have had some borders closed, right? But that was
yes, it's a lot of borders.
That was just to protect, and I kind of think we should do a little bit more like that in the United States. As I told you, every state does whatever they want. I think Europe is showing that I used to think that you were young, Anna, but in the early 1970s, when there was the international oil crisis, I feared for Europe at the time because people wanted gas, people wanted oil. But I think right now Europe is doing a good job in keeping together. And what does America do? We leave the World Health Organization. Can you explain that to me?
No. Wolfgang, and what will you do after the pandemic is over? What will be the first?
What will I do? I will dance and have.
Wow.
No, I will. Well, what will I do? Well, you mentioned my age. I hope that I can continue a few more years with my work, being with colleagues and friends and neighbors and students and visiting my international friends and going to conferences. So I hope I can carry on a few more years. I'm a realist, Anna. I realize that my active teaching years will come to an end. maybe I can teach a couple, 3 more years. That would be nice if my colleagues still tolerate me.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure.
But you know, it's interesting, Anna. The end has to come sometime, you know. And I mean, I'm already 76. That is, I think by now I am probably the oldest professor on campus.
Oh.
You know, so I'm, you know, way beyond retirement age, and I count my blessings. I mean, I'm healthy, and I have my old energy, and as far as work is concerned, Anna, I still have a lot of, including with you and Peter,
yes,
Lina, and Melita. I mean, there's always one project after another, and if I can be a little bit of a player in the international paremiological club, so to speak, I'd like to do that a little bit longer.